What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Dark Previews. We're back. We got a 12-game slate, and I'm itching and waiting to get into this one. I got 5 bets to share with you guys. I'm going to take you through the reasons why I like them, and hopefully you like them too. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Before we jump into today's picks, I do have to recap the last day. Pretty average slate. I went pretty light on it. Went 1 and 2 with the bets that I shared with you guys, so nothing too exciting. VIP went minus 1.3 units profit. Very close to hitting some massive players, but Jimmy Butler got injured. But at the same time, Jalen Suggs got injured the other day, and we won our bet because of it. So I'm not going to get too upset about it. Shit happens. Let's talk about the ones that lost. Giannis over 18.5 rebounds and assists. That was a bad bet. I thought it was a right read. Now let me explain that to you. He filled up the stat sheet, got a ton of rebounds, didn't get as many assists. The biggest issue with this Giannis play is he only saw 30 minutes. That's because there was a blowout. And honestly, I did consider there could be a blowout, but I still took the bet anyway, which makes it a bad one. So my bad if you tailed that one. The other one, SGA, under 38 points and over 5 assists. Finished on 4 assists in that game. He went well under his points line as well. I got too cute with it. I should have just taken the under in points. I don't know what I was so scared of. But they were the two losers. Isaiah Hartenstein over points and rebounds. He continues to be an absolute wagon, so we cashed it there. And for VIP, hit a college basketball play. Jizzle James, baby, 10 points, plus 180. We did cash that to scrape back a couple more units. College basketball's been running for a bit of time now, so I've got probably a bit enough data to make more picks on that. So for those of you in VIP, be prepared. You'll see more college basketball plays moving forward. Now, I've got a 12-game slate. Before we get through all of these picks that I have for you, I have to remind you about the rebet giveaway. Now, this rebet giveaway is going to happen on the next video. I think we've hit about 96 referrals already, so very close to the 100. I'm pretty sure we can get this. If it's your first time watching the video, what I'm talking about here is if you sign up with Rebet, which is one of my partners up here, if you sign up with Rebet, make a $10 deposit, use the code DAFT when you do, of course, send me an email, screenshot it, and I'll enter you into a draw to win $100 US. So I'll be giving away $500 US, which is a lot. I'm in Australia. I think that's what, 750 to 1,000, who knows? But it is a lot of money. But I'm giving that away because we've hit 100 referrals. All you need to do is sign up to Rebet to make that happen. On top of that, I'm going to give you guys 30 days free of my VIP picks as well. There's been a ton of you guys, 96 to be exact, who have taken advantage of that. We're over 50 units profit in the month of December. So it's an excellent deal. Go ahead and check it out. The link for that is in the video description below. Now let's get into these. So we're jumping into Props Madness. Prop Madness is the best tool you are going to find for NBA player props. I kid you not. Advanced data. It's got shot charts. It's got play type data. You're not going to get that anywhere else. So go ahead and check it out. 7-day free trial in the video description below. And use the code DAFT when you sign up. You'll get 25% off as well. Now, a lot of picks available on the board. I'm sharing 5 with you all today, but I can promise you I'm not going to have 5 by the time all of these games start, which is why the VIP stuff is so important for you guys to join. But don't want to oversell nothing. We don't win every single day. You saw that 1.3 units lost yesterday. It does go up and down, but very profitable so far this season. The first pick I want to share with you guys, I'm not going to do this in order because my bets are all over the place, but might as well. We're going back to Goga in this one. Miami Heat versus Orlando Magic. Goga Batadze. Looking at his rebounds prop. Over 9.5 rebounds. And man, has this line moved since he's been in this starting lineup. But I'm still going to take it. Now, here's why. Now, 9.5 rebounds for Goga. Honestly, given the minutes, his new role in the starting lineup, I think it's the right line to be set. But I absolutely love his matchup today. In future games with Goga, if it's at 9.5, I probably won't take it, but in this matchup here against the Miami Heat, it's a great one. First thing I want to do with Goga, he's playing at least 25 minutes, so let's get a good sample size of data. When he plays 25 minutes, he's over 9.5 rebounds in 10 out of 15 games this season. Up against the Miami Heat, though, they allow the 5th most rebounds in the league. They recently got lit up by Isaiah Hartenstein. He had 18 rebounds in that most recent game. Miami on a back-to-back as well. Let's talk about Goga. Tough matchups. He's had tougher matchups than this one in the Miami Heat. And in those matchups, he's still managed to get these boards. So it's a pretty simple play. Goga to get boards. I'm not going to watch this game, being honest with you guys. Orlando versus Miami. Ugh. Slow pace, horrendous offense, a lot of rebounds, which is why I like this bet. So I think Goga covers a 9.5. I think this is probably the last time I bet on Goga unless he finds an excellent matchup moving forward. But love this matchup here for Goga. Over 9.5 rebounds. If it does happen to move to 10.5, I would not take it. 9.5 is the highest I will go. And odds wise, you're looking at about minus 125 at the moment. If this gets to minus 150, I'd probably lay off it as well. So Goga's the first pick I wanted to share with y'all. The next one, we're heading to this Boston Celtics versus the Chicago Bulls. Now, I want to give you guys a lean on something real quick. So Zach LaVine, I was looking at this probably 8 hours ago. I considered taking the over 20.5 points. Zach LaVine's been killing it against this number this season, and he's been killing the Celtics. Check this out, 29 and 36 points in the 2 games. The first game, Boston won that game by 9. The second game, the Bulls managed to upset them by 9. And I considered betting on Zach LaVine because the matchup's not too bad. He's torched them before. I just have a feeling that the Boston Celtics could turn it up another gear and absolutely smash them the way that everyone would predict them to. The spread in this game is 11.5. So that's my only concern with betting on Zach LaVine. If you're going to drop some comments down below saying, why not Zach LaVine? That's why. But the bet that I am taking is for Jason Tatum. I did bet his rebounds prop last time against the Chicago Bulls. Actually, the last 2 times. Finished on 10, so he just got there when the line moved to 9.5. I was managed to catching him at 8.5. You're not going to get that anymore. But for Jason Tatum, I'm taking his points prop today, over 25.5 points in this game against the Chicago Bulls. Now, I think this line of 25.5 is relatively low for someone averaging 28 points per game this season. Now, he's done very well in the matchups against Chicago, 35 and then 31 points. 20 plus shot attempts. Oh, actually, no, only 18 shot attempts in the first game, and then 22 shot attempts in their most recent game, which was a loss. Jason Tatum, he eats first when these Boston Celtics play. His matchup, well, most people's matchup against the Bulls, easy as piss. They don't play defense at all. I think if Jason Tatum puts his head down and decides to go to the rim, he'll get a lot of layups, he'll make a lot of free throws, he's going to take a lot of 3-pointers. This is Jason Tatum after all. And I think this is a great bet to take. I personally don't like Jason Tatum, so you know that there's no bias in this. And I openly talk about it on my channel. I don't like the way that he plays. I don't like his shot selection. I don't like how he imitates Kobe. Ugh, cringe. But at a line at 25.5, I'll take it. I think Jason Tatum is more than good enough to cover that line against his terrible defense in a game where I expect the Boston Celtics to bounce back and absolutely pound them into the core of the earth. So there's 2 risks to this play, though. One, the blowout. If they do happen to blow them out and Tatum doesn't see enough minutes to score these points, that could be a loss. The other one is shooting percentage. If he decides to shoot fadeaways from all over the place, contested shots, and shoots horribly, like we all know Jason Tatum can do from time to time, then that's a risk to this play. But at 25.5, it's so low. It's a number that I have to take. So Jason Tatum, that's the second bet that I have for you guys. Now, the next 2 plays, I would say, are probably my favorite plays. And I know there's some of you guys who are watching this was like, which ones are the locks? Which ones are your favorites? Like, just because they're my favorites doesn't mean they're going to win. I think just in the last week, 3 of my favorite bets in 3 consecutive days, they all lost. So just because my favorite doesn't mean it's more likely. But for the fans, for all you people out there, for the content, I'll let you know that the next 2 plays, I absolutely love them to death. They were kind of the first ones I locked in. So we're heading to the Warriors versus Timberwolves game. We're looking at Julius Randle, and we're looking at his rebounds. And I'm taking him over 6.5 rebounds. And you're probably looking at the numbers here, and you're like, why the hell are you taking that? He's only over this line in 10 out of 26 games. Well, this is more of an observational bet, if I'm being honest with you guys. It's got nothing to do with data. Now, when the Golden State Warriors played the Minnesota Timberwolves on the 7th of December, I remember it specifically because I bet Rudy Gobert to go over his rebounds prop or his points and rebounds prop, one of the 2. And throughout that whole game, I was like, this sucks. Like, Rudy's not getting anything because the Warriors were just attacking Rudy every chance. If he was on the perimeter, they attacked him. If he was down low, they attacked him anyway, which meant Rudy was contesting everything. He was barely getting any rebounds. I thought this bet is done. And it was frustrating because Naz Reid, Julius Randle, taking all the rebounds because Rudy was never in the position to get them. And what ended up happening in the 4th quarter, the Wolves ended up blowing out the Warriors, and Rudy went crazy, scoring, dunking, rebounding all over the place. I managed to cash that bet, but that bet was looking so bad, I had managed to chalk it down as a loss, send an update saying it lost, and then I had to go back and edit it. That's how much I wrote it off. Then the next game, they played each other 2 days later. I thought I'm going to bet on Julius Randle rebounds here based off what I saw in the first game. And I was like, oh, am I getting too cute with it? I've got a 1 game sample size of why I should take somebody's rebounds, and I didn't take it. Julius Randle then went for 11 rebounds against the Warriors in that game, and I missed the opportunity. Well, these guys are facing each other again, and I'm not going to do it. I'm taking Julius Randle over 6.5 rebounds. I don't care about what his recent form is. I've seen 2 games of how these guys are playing, and the Warriors, I think they're going to attack Rudy once again. I don't think there's going to be a blowout here. The Warriors got embarrassed in their last game. They should be better in this one. Keep it close. Get Julius Randle more time, more rebounds for Julius Randle. I honestly think you can get 10 boards in this one. If you're feeling crazy or if you want a value play, just take a look at Julius Randle to go for a double-double today. That's all I'm going to say. But I love that bet for Julius Randle. Nothing to do with data. That's just my observations. The next one is pretty data-driven, but also has to do with my observations. And we're looking at PJ Washington taking his rebounds, and you can just see it right here. This is a system play of mine. If Luka Doncic is not playing, PJ Washington to get rebounds is automatically the bet that I take. Now, PJ Washington, the line's at 7.5 boards. He's hit this in every single game without Luka this season, including the most recent game against the Clippers. He had 9 rebounds in that game. He averages 11.4 rebounds without Luka this season. Line's only at 7.5. Give me that. Now, in that last game, there was a blowout as well. 23-point loss to the Clippers. He still managed to play 35 minutes, still got 9 rebounds, 15 rebound chances. The spread in this game is only 2.5. Kyrie Irving is back in the mix. So that helps out Dallas a little bit. Their offense stunk in that game. They had to rely on Klay Thompson's fake-ass goatee to keep him in the game. And PJ Washington himself didn't play very well. So I'm liking PJ Washington to still see 35 to 40 minutes the way that he has seen in the past. He should get these rebounds relatively easy. That's why these two are my favorite bets. 1, 100% hit rate when I bet on it. 2, the observation stuff on that Julius Randle, enough to get you up in the morning. So PJ Washington over his boards and Julius Randle over his rebounds too. Now, my very last bet for you guys is in between the Blazers and the Spurs. Looking at DeAndre Ayton here, taking him for over 13.5 points. Now, it feels like such a brave play because DeAndre Ayton's one of those centers. He's like in the AD mold of talented, but bit of a bitch. Don't want to be rude about it, but yeah. DeAndre Ayton, I like this bet. I honestly do. And first thing I want to do with this filter, I want to show you guys, is just looking at his minutes because he's had a lot of injuries, played limited minutes in some games. So if we look at games where he plays at least 28 minutes, he's over this line in 12 out of 15 games. So if you're just looking at hit rates alone, once you play with that filter, things look great. Now, he just came back from an injury against the Denver Nuggets, played 35 minutes in that game, scored 15 points. So safe to say, not many restrictions being placed on DeAndre Ayton here. And up against the Spurs, they're going to need all the big men they can possibly get to slow down that big-ass French Slenderman. DeAndre Ayton, let's talk about him, though. He's played Wemby twice in his career. He scored 20 and 21 points in the 2 matchups. I believe one of those were this year. It was here on the 8th of November. Scored 21 points on him in only 31 minutes played. The matchup for DeAndre Ayton to score some points is fantastic. So DeAndre Ayton scores 28% of his points in the pick and roll. The Spurs, 3rd worst in the league at defending that play type. He also scores 22% of his points on putbacks. The Spurs, 4th most putbacks allowed in the league. Now, that helps if Victor Wembanyama is trying to block everything. He's not going to be in the best position to rebound. So someone like DeAndre Ayton can get those offensive rebounds and put that shit back. So I'm absolutely loving the matchup. The hit rate is fantastic, provided he plays the minutes. He played 35 minutes in his last game. There's no reason why he doesn't play the minutes today, unless Chauncey Billups does some random bullshit to kill our bets. Or if you believe that Vegas calls, they might make the call here on DeAndre Ayton, or he could get injured again, right? Those are all real possibilities, but I do like DeAndre Ayton. We might call him dominated, depending on how he plays in this game, but the over 13.5, give me that. I'm loving it. So those are my 5 bets, but don't go anywhere because you know I'm all about giving you guys as much value as I possibly can. We're going to go through the plays with the best hit rates on this upcoming set of games, and I'll let you know what I think about it, whether I like it, whether I don't, whether it's worth betting on, whether it's not. Who knows? I might even find a few more bets for me to bet on. But before we get into that, I do ask that you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I'm dropping bangers like this every single day. This is the fastest growing YouTube channel you're going to find when it comes to sports betting. Almost 7,000 new subscribers since this NBA season started. Next milestone for us is to get to 20,000. I think we can get there real soon. I need your help to do that. So like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and drop me a comment down below for the algorithm. You can say absolutely anything. I want to hear it. Let's go. So I'm going to share two different hit rate picks from each game, and I'll let you know what my thoughts are on it. With 12 games on, I'll be here forever. So let's kick it off with this Lakers versus the Kings game. Looking at De'Aaron Fox here, looking at his assists, over 5.5. He's cashed this in 4 out of his last 5 games. He only had 5 assists against the Lakers in that last game, 13 potentials. The Kings didn't play very well, lost by 13 to the Lakers. Yeah, line at 5.5. He's got a pretty good matchup here. The Lakers do allow the 5th most assists in the league. De'Aaron Fox, when he played them the first time in the season, had 10 assists in that game from 17 potentials. That Kings offense stunk in that most recent game. I honestly like the over here. 5.5 for De'Aaron Fox. Seems quite low. Just looking at the odds here to see what I can get it for. Minus 121. I'm probably not going to take that, knowing that you guys in the US can get this for minus 105 on ESPN Bet or minus 110 on Fliff. But De'Aaron Fox to go over his assist prop, I do like it. It's a bounce back spot. That Kings offense needs to be better in this game. Fox is going to get the minutes. 13 potentials, more than enough to get 6 assists. I do like that over. 5.5 assists for De'Aaron Fox. What's another one that we have? LeBron James. Looking at an under for LeBron James, under 8.5 assists. So he's gone under in 4 out of his last 5 games. Against the Kings in the last game, he did have 7 assists from 15 potentials. Previous game against the Kings at the start of the season, he had 10 assists from 15 potentials. So pretty consistent, getting 15 potential assists there. I love fading the King, but I don't know, 8.5 assists. If the Lakers do shoot a little bit better from his passes, he could be going over there. And yeah, I don't want to bet an under most of the time. I want to bet an under in LeBron James, but I really don't want to get it wrong. And for that one, I'm probably on the fence. I couldn't tell you whether he goes over or under, but the hit rate does indicate to go down. Go to the under. Next, we're looking at the Heat versus Orlando Magic. Looking at Kentavious Caldwell-Pope here. So his points line's at 9.5. We're looking at an under, and I remember this. I actually brought this up the last time he played. He had gone under his points line in 6 consecutive games until that most recent game against OKC. And I remember saying that for KCP, pretty decent matchup here against OKC, though. They allow spot-up shooting, which is exactly what Kentavious Caldwell-Pope does. But he's up against the Miami Heat today. They do not allow spot-up shooting at all. Actually, that's a lie. They do allow spot-up shooting. What am I talking about? So this is probably another matchup I wouldn't take. They don't allow points in transition, but they'll give it up to spot-up shooters. Miami really lock in and try to focus on the key players, that being probably Jalen Suggs. They're going to try to limit him, and they'll probably leave someone like KCP open to get some buckets. So I wouldn't be too excited in betting it under here for KCP. I'm not saying to bet the over, but yeah, not typically my thing. But an interesting under you could take is on my man Goga today. Looking at his points, and it's his first quarter points. Check this out. He's gone under 3.5 points in the first quarter in 6 consecutive games now. And he's been starting all of these games too, seeing between 7 and 9 minutes each quarter. And it looks like on average, he's only taking 2 shots. So unless this guy happens to shoot 100% from the field, you're probably safe to bet the under here. Tough matchup to score some points against Miami. 9th fewest points to put back points. They defend the pick and roll quite well. So an under here for Goga Bitadze. Now, what's crazy is a lot of these shot attempts Goga takes in the first quarter, a lot of these are actually putbacks that he tries to tip things in. Like, they don't run any offense for him. He sets a lot of screens, does a lot of handoffs, doesn't necessarily get the ball and opportunities to score. So under 3.5 points for Goga could be interesting. Or maybe I could do a value play with Goga to go under his first quarter points prop, over his rebound prop. I'll probably get plus 300 for that. But I'll leave it up to you. I honestly don't mind this. This makes a ton of sense to me. Matchup's tough. I get it. Yeah. Goga Bitadze, under 3.5 first quarter points prop. I don't hate that. I'm going to take a look at that a little bit later. The next game, we got the Grizzlies versus the Hawks. Now, talking about last 5, what do we got? Desmond Bane, the Bane train. So there's not many markets available for this game at the moment. A couple of game time decisions here. I think Ja Morant's going to be out. But for Desmond Bane, looking at his assists, man's been diamond up. Line's at 5.5. He's gone over this in 4 out of his last 5 games. The only game he went under was against the Boston Celtics, who don't allow many assists at all. Now, one thing I've noticed here about Desmond Bane is his potential assist volume is not very high. So his assist to potential assist ratio, it's pretty high, meaning they're very quality passes. All the people he passes to tend to take a couple of dribbles before they make their baskets. Up against Atlanta here, 8th most assists allowed in the league. They've given similar assists away to Kobe White from the Bulls, who's a similar player as Desmond Bain. I don't hate this. 4 out of his last 5, no Ja Morant. Let's take a look at his games without Ja Morant. Without Ja Morant, he's only over in 3 out of 7. So Ja Morant probably doesn't impact things too much. Or who knows? Maybe Ja Morant's scoring off Desmond Bain passes. That could be something to think about. I don't hate this. Don't love it. I'm not going to bet it myself. The hit rate is very interesting, though. The next one is for Trigger Trae Young. Looking at a PRA for Trae Young. 37.5 would have to be the number. Hit this in 3 straight games, 4 out of his last 5. Up against Memphis today, and Trae Young's got a pretty decent scoring matchup. The Memphis Grizzlies don't defend the pick and roll all too well. They don't defend above the break very well, which is where Trae Young scores a lot of his points. They allow a lot of free throws, so Trae Young can bait them into some free throws into that. They are a pretty good defensive team overall, but in terms of matchups, Trae Young's got a pretty decent matchup. I'd probably wait on betting this, though. I think Trae Young is a game-time decision for this one. But, yeah, I don't hate that. His recent form is pretty good, but how much of this is due to cup games? Who knows? After the cup games, actually, versus Spurs, 23 points, 16 assists. So your man can still get out there and produce some numbers, that's for sure. So I don't mind that. Trae Young, I think he can flirt with a 38 to 40 points, rebounds, and assist line in this game. I don't hate that look for Trae Young. That's all I'm going to say. Next, we've got the Jazz versus the Nets. Now, this one it's got a great hit rate, but I don't think I'll take this. We're talking about Ben Simmons, under 8.5 assists. Now, he's only gone over this in 3 out of 21 games, but recently, playing in the starting lineup, playing more minutes, 2 games where he's had 30-plus minutes now, had 8 and 7 assists in those games. Now he's playing up against the Utah Jazz, and this Utah Jazz team gives up a ton of assists. Just check out this blue line, which is crazy. So in the games where he's played these teams that allow a lot of assists. So where's the Jazz? The Jazz, 4th most assists in the league. Let's just see how he plays against the bottom 10. When he plays against the bottom 10 teams, this is what he's done. 8 assists against the Hawks in 24 minutes. 11 assists against the Bulls in 26 minutes. 12 assists in 22 minutes against the New Orleans Pelicans. And he's up against the Utah Jazz today, and he probably plays another 30 minutes again. So if anything, I might even lean to the over here for Ben Simmons' assists. So this is probably more of a warning not to bet the under, and this is the reason why you shouldn't. The next one is Keyonte George. Now, Keyonte George, looking at his PRA in this one, the hit rate on this is pretty nice. He's hit this in 5 out of his last 6 games. We're talking about 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists up against the Brooklyn Nets. I think he's covered this last year against them. Yeah, had 28 points, rebounds, and assists when they played last year. 21 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. 3 assists. Now let's talk about his matchup real quick. What's he looking at here? So in terms of his scoring type, scores a lot of his points in the pick and roll. This Brooklyn Nets team allow the fewest points in the pick and roll in the league, but he can score in transition. They're not good at that. As a spot-up shooter, they're not good at that, and he can get to the free throw line. So his points line, yeah, it's not too bad. I wonder what it's like for assists and stuff. The Nets do give up a lot of assists, bottom 10 in terms of assists allowed. And then rebounding, this guy's been rebounding like a freak. I think this might be the better look. Let's just talk about his rebound line. 2.5 rebounds for Keyonte George. I'm pretty sure someone like a lot of guys on Twitter are probably frothing around this because they love hit rates. This has happened almost 10 consecutive games. He's gone over 2.5 rebounds. Now, it is pretty juiced, but at the same time, a win is a win, right? So Keyonte George over his rebounds, how do I tell you not to take that? Like, it makes a whole lot of sense. He's playing a lot of minutes, and he seems to be getting some boards. So Keyonte George, I'll leave that one up to you whether you decide to play that or not. But, yeah, I wouldn't hate you if you did. Makes sense. But you'd hate yourself if you lose. That's all I'm going to say. Next, we've got the Celtics versus the Bulls. Now, some interesting hit rates going on in this one. I think Jason Tatum's rebounds one that we've got to talk about. 5 consecutive games, he's gone over this rebound line of 9.5. 11, 10, 13, 12, and 10. Up against the Chicago Bulls, played them twice this season, had 14 rebounds in their first game, then 10 rebounds in their most recent game. I can't talk you out of that. It makes a whole lot of sense. You can get close to plus money for Jason Tatum to go over his rebound line. I personally would probably just play Jason Tatum for a double-double. I think I might have said that in the last video as well. That's how I would play this. I can't tell you why this shouldn't hit. It just makes total sense why it does. Jason Tatum's not defending any high usage rate players. He kind of roves around the court, sits on the weak side, and gets a ton of rebounds. So if the Boston Celtics are going to beat the brakes off the Chicago Bulls, then a lot of rebounds for Jason Tatum might be coming his way. So I don't mind that. Jason Tatum to get some rebounds. The next one, we're looking at Jason Tatum's mate, Jaylen Brown. Looking at it under in a PRA, 33.5. He's gone under this in 5 consecutive games right now. I don't know what's wrong with Jaylen Brown at the moment, because this Chicago Bulls team, if you look at matchups, it was built for Jaylen Brown, not Jason Tatum. He's got a great matchup to score some points. Hasn't been doing it. Hasn't been rebounding. Hasn't been diming up. Still been getting some minutes, 30 to 35 minutes a night. Just hasn't been producing. Now, I don't want to bet an under on Jaylen Brown against the worst defense in the league, so I'll pass on that. But that's really interesting. He's got a good matchup to score some points. Good matchup to do everything, to get points, rebounds, and assists. I think the problem here with Jaylen Brown is he doesn't eat first. So when it comes to scoring, they tend to feed Porzingis and Tatum more than him. When it comes to rebounds and assists, Jason Tatum does a lot of that shit. Derek White does a lot of that shit. Drew Holiday does that too. So Jaylen Brown's usually the forgotten man, I'd say. So maybe he's been getting forgotten. Maybe he explodes today, but I can't get a read on Jaylen Brown. I'm not betting on nothing on him. Not betting no overs, no unders. I'm just going to have to politely decline that and pass. Then we got the 76ers versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we've just got to run it back straight away. Where is he? Donovan Mitchell, and it's got to be his assists. Look at this. This is just ridiculous. 7 consecutive games. Now, throughout this 7-game stretch, I did bet on his assists, but now it's just gotten ridiculous. He's hitting it too often. He's hitting it too often for me to even want to bet it, because there's any minute now he's going to go under. But he has hit this in 7 consecutive games. He is playing against the Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers, 15th in the league in terms of assists allowed. Let's check some head-to-head matchups. He had 9 assists against them when they played earlier this year from 13 rebound chances. Last season, 6 and 8 assists. So, man, this guy's been murdering them when it comes to diming up. Damn, I was hoping to find something terrible on there, but it looks like I might have to bet it. He had 6 assists against the Bucks today. You only need 5 to cash this bet. Man, this makes a whole lot of sense. I can't see why you shouldn't. Maybe we take a look. They haven't had many injuries. They're pretty much running with the same guys all the time. This makes sense. What if we look at similar types of players? Who we got? These are some guards that played them recently. Yeah, it's not like they're limiting everybody. Man, Donovan Mitchell to get some assists here against Philly. I think there's no Joel Embiid in this game, I'd assume, because he's a big fat coward, but there could be a blowout. But even in blowouts, Donovan Mitchell's been making this happen. The last 2 games, they won by 20 plus. He had 5 and 6 assists. So Donovan Mitchell, over 4.5 assists, looks like something I'm going to get down. I'm doing it. Taking Donovan Mitchell. Now, the next one, I think this was a popular bet today against the Charlotte Hornets. Kelly Oubre, and over in his PRA. Ooh, mama. So he's hit this in 6 consecutive games, Kelly Oubre, this 21.5. See what he's averaging. In these 6 games, he's averaging 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. But he is up against the Cleveland Cavaliers today. The matchup for him is not too bad. Cleveland, they do allow some points to spot ups. The point attack players probably find a bit more trouble. Kelly Oubre, matchup's not too bad, honestly, to score some points. When it comes to rebounds and assists, where are they sitting? 8th fewest assists, 10th fewest rebounds allowed in the league. That matchup's a little bit difficult. We look at the teams he's played. Orlando, that's a somewhat difficult matchup to rack up the stats on. The Bulls is a soft matchup. The Pacers is pretty soft, and so are the Hornets as well. But yeah, 21.5 seems like a reasonable line. I wonder if he's played them at all this season. Yeah, had 26 PRA against Cleveland this season. 20 points, 6 rebounds, no assists. There's no Tyrese Maxey, Embiid, or Paul George in that game, though. Last season, 28, 16, and 8. So a bit of a mixed bag. So if we look at his games with the players that are expected to be there, we look at the games with Maxey, with George, without Embiid, we can see that he's hit this points, rebounds, and assist line in 3 out of his last 6 games, averaging 21.8. Up against Cleveland, matchup's not too bad. Could be a blowout, though. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I'd probably stay away. The hit rate is nice on Kelly Oubre, but I'm not willing to play with that one today. So I'll pass on that. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you very much. The next one, we do have the Washington Wizards versus Milwaukee Bucks. Now, a lot of lines aren't available in a lot of books here, but let's talk about it. Because one player I want to get on is Bilal Coulibaly. Oh, actually, no, there's lines available now. Let's go. Look at this. DraftKings looks like the only one. Bilal Koulibaly assists have been on my radar for so long. So long. I think I might have joined the Land Your Bets live stream and spoke about it as well, how I want to bet it, but Malcolm Brogdon's coming back. He's getting cash in it anyway. So he's over this 3.5 assists, which you can get for plus money, by the way. He's over this in 8 consecutive games now. Obviously, no Kuzma in the lineup. Brogdon just came back. But if we look at the games without Kuzma, look at this. Look at this. Stunning. 9 consecutive games without Kyle Kuzma. Bilal Koulibaly has covered this. Now, in terms of the matchup, he's up against the Bucks today. Did have 4 assists the last time he played the Bucks without Kyle Kuzma. What's crazy is he managed to get those 4 assists on 4 potential assists. So the potential assist volume's not there. This is purely a hit rate play. I can't explain why it happens. I don't think I'm going to take it, even though it's at plus money. It's really about these potential assist volumes. And the Bucks, 9th fewest assists allowed. I'll pass on that despite how good the hit rate is, because I just can't explain how it's happening. At least with Donovan Mitchell, I get it. He's got the ball in his hands all the time. Bilal does not. So I'll pass on that Koulibaly despite how good the look is. The next one is a Taurean Prince under. Can I interest you in a Taurean Prince under? Looking at his points and rebounds, you could just look at his points as well. He's under this in 6 consecutive games. Up against Washington, though. Yeah, Washington, not good at basketball. Taurean Prince did have 12 points against them last time, but there was no Chris Middleton. There was no Pat Connaughton in the lineup. I think Middleton's back. Connaughton actually played that most recent game against Cleveland. Taurean Prince saw 25 minutes, but I guess that's what he normally sees. So there's no real edge here. But yeah, I'm not betting on no Taurean Prince under 9.5 points and rebounds. Get the hell out of here. I don't care how good the hit rate is. That just seems silly. I'm not doing it. I politely decline. Actually, with Bilal Koulibaly, his rebound numbers aren't too bad. What if we looked at his rebounds plus assists? I'm talking to myself here. He's gone over this in 5 consecutive games. 8.5 is the line. It's not plus money, though. Yeah. And you can probably get 10 to 11. So I think, Bilal Koulibaly, I feel better at betting his rebounds and assists, better than just his assists, despite the hit rate being better for his assists. I hope that makes sense. With his assists, chances are he finishes on 4 or 5, and you need 4 to cash that bet. With his rebounds and assists, you can see here that he's been getting to 11 and 12 quite a lot. So I think there's just a bigger room to work with here. So I'm not taking either. That just caught my attention. Let's get into the next one. It's the Warriors versus the Timberwolves. What are we going to find in this one? Who's got the hit rates? Strange one. Jaden McDaniels. I've noticed this. I've actually noticed this through box scores. In the first quarter, this man seems to be scoring. And damn, he is. 6 consecutive games, Jaden McDaniels is over 2.5 points. And this also includes 2 games against the Warriors, who he's up against today, where he scored 6 and 4 points. So what's crazy is he's taking 4 attempts. So you need 2 buckets or 1 3-pointer in order to cash this bet. In the most recent game against the Knicks, he did make 2 3-pointers in that first quarter. The Warriors, second worst team in the league at defending spot-up shooting. Now, Jaden McDaniels, I wouldn't say is a great spot-up shooter, but that is how he scores 47% of his points. He's either catching it and shooting it, or he's scoring in transition. That's pretty much Jaden McDaniels on offense. Now, can Jaden McDaniels get 2 transition layups or a wide-open 3-pointer to cash in the first quarter? The numbers tell me yes. He's played the Warriors already. I think I might be down for this. Minus 104 is what I can get. Let's do it. Jaden McDaniels. This makes a ton of sense. First quarter points props can be a little bit risque, though. Got to tell you. But I do like this. The hit rate's great. We know he's going to get minutes. About 8 minutes in the first quarter. We know he's going to get some shots up. Look at his attempts. 4, 5, 5, 4, 4, and 3. And we need 2 buckets. If he's taking 4 to 5 every single time, and at 2.5, meaning he just needs to make a 3-pointer for this to cash. I honestly don't hate this. Jaden McDaniels, over 2.5 points in the first quarter. If this was at minus 130, I probably wouldn't play it. But minus 104? Come on, man. Let's go. I like that. What's another one I've got for y'all? We've got to talk about Andrew Wiggins, I think. Let's take a look at Andrew Wiggins. And points plus assists. Look at this. Look at this. Andrew Wiggins cashes in 15 out of 22 games. I'm not going to count all these green bars right here, but he's been doing it quite well recently. up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, there's a reason why I wouldn't take it. He was on this historic run of cashing this points and assist line. The only game he didn't hit it in after the 19th of November, which was a whole month ago, was against the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he finished on 11 points, 0 assists. But he only played 19 minutes in that game, which is strange. Did he get injured? Perhaps. Not too close to it. But if you take a look, and if that was an injury, and you think Andrew Wiggins is probably going to play 25 minutes at least in this game, he's over this line in 13 out of 15 games where he plays 25 minutes. How crazy is that? But yeah, it seems like a relatively low line for Andrew Wiggins. Points line at 14.5. He's been cashing that like crazy. I'd probably have to investigate that further because something must be up. That line seems way too low. Could it be the Dennis Schroeder thing? That I am not sure of right now. But let's get into the next one. We've got the Knicks versus the Pelicans. And what are we going to see here? Maybe Karl Anthony Towns' rebound should come up. And yeah, Karl Anthony Towns, everything comes up if I just want to look at the last five. But let's skip over Cat. I think everybody knows how well Cat's playing. You don't need me to explain that to you. Someone that has been hitting at a pretty consistent basis, Mikal Bridges. Take a look at this. Points lines at 16.5. He's hit this in every single game in December. What a month he is having. 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 consecutive games over 16.5 points. Up against the New Orleans Pelicans today, and his matchup is really good. 5th most points to spot up shooters, 2nd most points in the restricted area, 3rd worst defensive rating, 2nd most points in the paint allowed. Mikal Bridges should eat today. He's got a good matchup. It looks like the only thing the Pelicans can do is slow down people in the pick and roll. So someone like Jalen Brunson might have a difficult time scoring points. But for someone like Mikal Bridges, who plays a ton of minutes, who's going to see consistent volume, who's playing out of his mind right now, this makes a ton of sense. Great matchup, great opportunity, great form for Mikal Bridges. I wonder if, and look at this, he scored 31 points against the Pelicans last time. Man, this is the holy trinity of sports betting when everything looks good. Now, the problem is it too good to be true? That's my only concern here. But let's not waste too much time being concerned about stuff. Let's get back to Mikal Bridges. Look at that. This is fantastic. All right. What odds am I getting? -125 at Bet365. I think I'm going to take that too. Man, this exercise that we're doing is a little bit dangerous for my bankroll. But if all of these things cash, then it was all worth it, right? What's good? What else has a great hit rate from this particular game? Can I interest you in a Trey Murphy over? Trey Murphy's been playing quite well. Where's Trey Murphy? Here he is. So Trey Murphy, if we look at his points, rebounds, and assists, he's hit this in 4 consecutive games now. 4 out of his last 5. I think the key trigger here is Brandon Ingram's been out the whole time. Yeah, it has been since Brandon Ingram been out. Ooh, okay. Let's take a look at the games without Brandon Ingram for Trey Murphy. Zion hasn't played all year. So, yeah, take a look at this. 6 out of 8 games this season, Trey Murphy's gone over his points, rebounds, and assists line of 23.5 without Brandon Ingram in the lineup. Now, Trey Murphy does have a difficult matchup scoring some points here. Scoring in the spot up, scoring in transition, getting to the free throw line. The New York Knicks, somewhat decent at defending those things. So I don't know how much I love that. Rebounds and assists, that's not giving us any glory. That doesn't excite me too much. So I'm probably have to pass on Trey Murphy despite the good hit rate. Because if you're looking at a points, rebounds, and assists, that points line is extremely crucial to that number. And if his matchup to score some points isn't good, I'm happy to stay away from it. Let's get to the next one. We have the Clippers versus the Mavericks. What do we got right here? James Harden. Let's take a look at James Harden. Under 7.5 assists. He's gone under this in 5 consecutive games now. 7 against the Blazers, only 3 against the Timberwolves, 6 against the Nuggets and Jazz, and then 7 most recently against the Mavericks. That was somewhat blowout. He had 36 points, did score the ball quite well. And he's up against the Mavericks again. Mavericks allow the 9th most assists in the league. 7.5, I don't think I can get there. If this was 8.5, I probably would be down to play it. But at 7.5, knowing he just got to 7, if he just gets a little bit better, yeah, you're toast there. So, yeah, I wouldn't be too interested in betting on James Harden under his assist line there. But another one, which I don't feel too comfortable about, but you might be if you like hit rates. Looking at Kyrie Irving, his assist prop. Now, this is assist prop overall, 6.5. He's only gone over this in 5 out of 24 games. So he's gone under quite often. but his line's a little bit higher because we've got no Luka. But no Luka in the lineup, he's only hit this line once out of 6 games. I did bet this in the last game against the Clippers, but Kyrie didn't end up playing. It was 7.5 when I took it, 6.5 today. Now, I would lean to the under for sure. The Clippers, 7th fewest assists allowed in the league. Chances are Kyrie finishes on 6. But I definitely lean that way. I don't think I'm going to bet it, knowing that I had a chance to bet a 7.5 in the last game. It's an egotistical thing. Maybe I'm a bit stubborn, but yeah, I'm not too keen to bet on that. But 2 very interesting looks. And then look, Howden might finish on 7, Kyrie might finish on 6 again, and I'd be wishing I took the bet. But yeah, those unders can be really stressful. And at my age, I don't need that type of stress in my life right now. But next, we're looking at the Trailblazers versus the San Antonio Spurs. Now, hit rate wise, what can I get your attention with? Victor Wembanyama. Let's talk about Victor. And for Victor, we'll be looking at his assists. Over 4.5 assists. He's cashed this in 5 out of his last 6 games. One of those games was against the Portland Trailblazers, where he did have 7 assists from 11 potentials. So can we see a repeat of that? Look, potentially. But without looking at the film to understand how and why this happened, I'm probably not too confident in doing that. But just to let you know, one part of my research process, which I do a lot, is you can go to NBA.com, look at the box score from this particular game where he versed the Portland Trailblazers. You can click on Victor Wembanyama's assists, and you get to see all the video clips of him with getting these assists. Then you can understand how they happen. Are they lucky ones? Were there plays being run through Wemby where he gets to make a decision? Like, you can really determine the quality of the passes that he's making to see whether he can replicate it and do it again. So Victor, I've got no thoughts on that until I looked at the film and understood how it happened, but I encourage you to check that out if Victor Wembanyama assist is your thing. Next, we're looking at Tumani Kumara, and we're looking at his points and his rebounds. Yeah, so his points and rebounds line's at 13.5. He's gone over this in 4 out of his last 5 games. Last 2 games, he's been excellent. But checking to see, when was the last time he played the Spurs? He had 13 points and rebounds in that game. So 13.5 is a line. Might be a little bit tight, but he rebounded very well. He had 9 rebounds in that game against the Spurs. So that's very interesting. And in his last 4 games, he's been rebounding quite well. The line's only at 4.5, though. What's happening? Maybe there's something in their lineups. Maybe they have more people in. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I've got to really assess this to see what's going on here. No Aiden. Aiden came back and he still got the boards anyway. So, yeah, Tumani Kamara rebounds. I think that's worth investigating. He's at 4.5. He did play a ton of minutes in these games. When he goes under, he plays less than 30 minutes by the looks of things. So the question is, why does he play more than 30 minutes? That's what you need to find out if you're interested in betting on Tumani Kamara. If you can find out why he plays the minutes, whether it be a rotation thing, players out, players in, if you can find out and you think he's going to play more than 30 minutes, then Tumani Kamara, his rebounds are an excellent look here against the San Antonio Spurs, who he had 9 rebounds against last time. All right, we're heading into the Detroit Pistons and the Phoenix Suns. Let's talk about it. Last game on the slate. We have my man Malik Beasley. I did call him Michael Beasley in my last video. I get it. I actually found that in editing, and I was like, screw it. I'm not fixing this. Malik Beasley got me paid. But Malik Beasley, we're talking about hit rates. His points rate, hit rate is not too bad, if I'm being honest with you, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're looking at his rebounds and assists. He's gone over this in 4 out of 5 games, where it is, 5 out of 6 games, 6 out of 7 games, depending on how far you want to go over. Line's at 4.5. He's been cashing this quite well. Up against Phoenix today, the matchup is not too bad. 13th most assists, 13th most rebounds. Not too far from the middle of the pack. Malik Beasley, is he going to see the time, though? Because Jaden Ivey's back in this game. And Ivey's been missing for the last few games. So Malik Beasley's been playing 41 and 35 minutes. Can he get it done with or without Ivey? Let's look at the games with Jaden Ivey in the lineup. And yes, he can. Still can get rebounds and assists, whether Ivey is there or not. Can he get it against Phoenix? Potentially. But the difficult thing here is when you're looking at rebounds and rebounds specifically for guards, it's a pretty tough bet to take unless you know who they're defending, how they defend, how they're going to get these rebounds. Whereas you're just betting on hit rate, I don't know how you can bet that with confidence. So Malik Beasley, I'll probably pass on this despite how good the hit rate is. What else do we have here? We could look at Yusuf Nurkic, points plus assists. Now, he's gone over this 11.5 points plus assist line in 5 out of 6 games, which is pretty decent. Interesting look here for Phoenix because there's no Devin Booker today. Devin Booker doesn't miss many games, so there's a very small sample size of how this team's played without him. But we just look at the matchup to score some points. Firstly, he scores a lot in the pick and roll man. Detroit, 9th most points in the pick and roll this season. The challenge here is that Nurkic scores a lot of his points under the basket. Detroit allow the 4th fewest points under the basket in the league. They do give it up everywhere else, but right under the basket, they're doing something right. So whether that they be collapsing or something. So yeah, it could be a tough one for Nurkic, but let's see. Games without Devin Booker last season. What did he do? Okay. Nurkic was a beast. 12 out of 14 games last season. But I think if you just look at last season, he probably had monster games anyway. Yeah, he hit this number pretty good last. So last season's data is not relevant to Yusuf Nurkic. I wouldn't even bother relying on that. This season's data doesn't have too many games, and no Devin Booker does make things a little bit difficult. So yeah, I'm choosing not to bet on any of the Phoenix Suns players today. I don't know who's going to do what without Devin Booker in the lineup. KD probably does everything. Bradley Beal probably steps it up. But yeah, I'd prefer to feel a little bit more confident about my bet. So I'm just going to wait and see. We'll see how things go for that Phoenix team. But that's a wrap for today's video. I'm starting to fatigue. That was a long-ass one. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You found a lot of value. You found some more bets than you're probably expecting. A couple of reminders. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Get into that rebet giveaway. Help your boy get to 20,000 subscribers. And most of all, leave me a comment down below for the algorithm. Let's push this thing out to more people. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I appreciate y'all. Peace.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.